these trucks have right-handed and left-handed nuts and bolts. So I can see now on here, I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but you can see an R on there. There's an upside down R there, and there's another one that's the right way up. But anyway, they've got these funny studs with a square head, and that's basically the extension stud that holds the actual outer wheel, but also holds the inner wheel at the same time. Anyway, let's get them off, and I'm going to get them off and have a look at what they look like behind there. I've undone them with the massive bar to get rid of the worst of the torque with this whole thing here, so you can see how long it is. And now I'm going to take them off with my trusty impact wrench with a 41mm socket. Let's do that. These look pretty massive compared to the front nuts. Now I'll get this wheel off and see what size they are, but I don't think they're the same as the front ones. Wow, that looks odd. Freaky. So with the Isuzu, they have the 41mm socket on one hand and the bracing bar, which is way too short, and the square socket for those weird bolts for the dualies. Let's try that. So I checked the size of those square heads there, and they happen to be 24mm socket. So I'm just going to put that on there and get my rattle gun onto it now that they're loose. Let's do that. There you go. Jack it up a little bit. Drop it down a bit. There we go. Let's try that. It's a beast. That's one big drum. Look at my hand. Yes. Okay. Time to put the super single on. Let's do that. You can see I've got the super single. You have to make sure when you order these that you get them with the valves the right way around. So this one's been designed to go on the back because the dishing out of the wheel is outwards, if that makes sense. So the plate that it bolts onto is towards the back, whereas on the front it would literally be the opposite way around. So if I just roll the wheel out the way, turn the camera around, you would have the front this way, and that's a lot shallower. The dish is a lot shallower here than it is in there, if that makes any sense. Air valve has to point outwards. With the front one, this would come out towards this way, and that's basically how they work. So you just turn the same wheel 180 degrees. You could actually put this on the front, it wouldn't matter. You'd have to somehow get your backward facing air valve type pump things so that you can pull it towards you and pump it up. I thought I'd just mention how this stuff works. I know for a lot of people out there that this is probably common knowledge, but there's always someone out there that might need this advice. So this is why I'm doing it. And also it's just some sort of, you know, chronicles of the things I've been doing, because you forget things so quickly that, yeah, if you don't record them or write them in your diary, you forget what you did. So anyway, here it goes. So I put a couple of examples here, and I wanted to show you the difference between the nut rather that I bought. And if you're interested, guys, this is the part number, genuine Isuzu part number, if you want to get it for anyone who's doing it, an Isuzu conversion. Can't remember if this is the left or the right. It should say somewhere on that packet. But anyway, this is what comes off the actual Julies at the back, not the fronts. And you can see how much bigger the diameter is in comparison to that. And that's what you've got to be aware of. And that's because the Julies have these extensions on them to hold the inner wheel. So that one holds the inner wheel. This then bolts on, so that bolts into the inner wheel. This one then bolts on and holds the outer wheel, and that's how it works. But the inside of this has a thread, as you can see, and that thread matches the studs that come out of the hub in the truck. So there you go. You can see on this one, it actually says it's a left-handed one. So remember, if it's left-handed, to tighten it, you have to go the opposite way. So instead of righty-tighty, you go righty-loosey, lefty-tighty. So this will tighten opposite. And the easiest way to remember that, by the way, I just thought I'd show you the differences. So that's a left one, that's a right one. They're quite clearly marked. I know on some trucks they're not, and that could be a problem. You'll have to just either find out from the manual or ring the manufacturers and ask them if that particular model has the same system. I know I used to have a Toyota Coaster before, and that had Julies on the back, and that used the same system. So the easiest way to remember it is when you're tightening your nuts on the left hand side, turn your brace to the nose of the vehicle or to the front of the vehicle. And if you want to tighten on the right hand side, the driver's side in Australia, turn your lever or brace towards the front of the vehicle. That way you can't make a mistake. Don't rely on your righty-tighty, lefty-loosey scenario here. So if you want to undo them on the left-hand side, you need to turn your bar or brace backwards towards the back of the vehicle. And the same applies to the right-hand side, the driver's side. If you want to undo them, turn your brace to the back of the vehicle. That side will make more sense to you because it's lefty-loosey, whereas the other side won't make sense unless you follow that system of tightening, turn your brace to the front of the vehicle, loosening, turn your brace to the back of the vehicle. I hope that was interesting. I hope it was useful for some people. I know that for a lot of people this is common knowledge, but like I said, I'm doing it for everybody, and I'm doing it so I can chronicle my journey in this truck build. Okay, till next time. Hang on a minute, it's not finished yet. Just realized something. What if the spare wheel doesn't fit back where it's supposed to? Yep, so that's just dawned on me. So I'm gonna have a look and see if it fits. Grab a spare one and try it, and let's see what happens. So as you can see, we have a problem. That's not fully up and it's hitting the leaf springs. I wonder, after removing this thing, whether I can push the wheel lifter back and get it away from the springs. It's also really fouling up on, so look around this way, the brake lines. So this side's got problems as well with the spring, and I think, I don't know if the camera can see this, but just down there, maybe not, but down there somewhere, the brake lines look dodgy. Okay, I think I might have solved the problem. Have a look at this. So I've got some clearance here, and that's because all I did, if you look down there, I put a piece of wood just to angle the wheel as it jammed against the plate that pulls the wheel up. So now it's at a slight angle like the original. Difficult to tell compared to the chassis. Clearance is okay. It's still higher than the diff. We've got clearance on this side, and if you look at the back, those two brake cables are just touching, so I can just mount them a little bit higher. You can just see that block in there. So that's a score. That's it, folks. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, like, comment and subscribe. Don't forget to click that notification button or bell. Anyway, next time on Overlanding Omar, exciting times ahead. I start stripping Susie down. Susie loses much unwanted weight. My finger. And I realize I could probably do with cranking up the welder and start making things at last. Woohoo!